and Sandra is going to keep trying, and if she can't get on the video, she'll call in.
Okay, I've started the recording.
Okay. So I want to thank everybody for Zooming in. We have a visitor on the line right now that I want to talk about first. Last night we had an interview with Dan Bosserman for the open seat on the Sandy Arts Commission. And we are going to talk a little bit about that. After the interview, the panel discussed the options, and we have decided to send Dan Bosserman's name to the City Council, and the City Council then will have the official vote as to whether to put him on our commission. So unofficially, I want to welcome Dan to our meeting, and we hope that he will join us in our meetings. Dan is a man of many talents, and some of you probably already know him. He's a writer. He's written books. He does journalism, and he's an actor, and he plays the harmonica. And we're looking forward to working with him on the committee. So now we're going to jump to just our agenda for the work session. Most of these things are just an update and pretty simple. So I wanted to let you know that after our last meeting, I talked to both Sandra and Pam, and they are joining me on the Pleasant Street Committee. And for Dan and Linda, any committee that we undertake can only have 3 commissioners, but we can have unlimited number of volunteers. So we will start working on some of the issues that I've discussed with Kelly O'Neill in planning, and we'll be working on the Pleasant Street project. The art master plan is something that we've been working on, and the committee itself is Marcia, Linda, and I, and then Gail Lawrence, who's our facilitator, and she is putting together a master plan outline, and I'd like to discuss a little bit about the outline and about what the process is. The master plan itself is something that Carl, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but Carl Exner has had input that he would like to see a master plan put together, and he's our liaison with the City Council. And so if anything comes up at City Council, Carl is our guy to work with on that.
Sure, and there are a number of things that I know the council itself has remarked on. Some of it has been in public meetings, some of it's in the workshop. I'm trying hard not to take too much input from just general conversations, because I want to make sure it's a public meeting format about what they would like to see in a master plan. And mostly there are things like kinds of artists we were hoping to use. That would be something we need to kind of look at, whether it be local, regional, national, whether or not we could have a range of that too. Also, a variety of art. So it wouldn't be just something relegated, and I'm sure we won't because we've already talked about the variety of arts. So murals, sculptures, paintings, on the street, on the buildings, a variety of things, and things we haven't even thought of yet, maybe even music. One of the things that had garnered a lot of excitement by the city council was these wind sails, either over a park or over the plaza, as a way to draw in different interests in the city. And then also the recognition that art is a very economic development kind of feature. It draws in economy, it brings people to stop at the city, it draws the city in terms of understanding where we are on a map. It can be done in a number of different ways too. It doesn't have to be limited to the size. And I think there also was a concern. I remember recently we talked about not just downtown Sandy, but there would be other places, parks, residential areas, maybe even industrial areas. So, and I'm developing a list of what the council is talking about, but kind of a start that way. I don't want to take all your time, but those are the things that come off the top of my head.
Okay, so you were saying that those are things that have been coming up in council or things that have been discussed. And so we would like to present to the council a concept, an outline at some point that would show what the master plan would encompass, as you mentioned, criteria for artist selection, focus on particular areas of the city that may need art, and also policies that oversee the various things that the Art Commission is going to do. So Linda had sent an email that was particularly focused on getting buy-in from the city council. So when we get the outline done, we would like to present it to the Arts Commission and then hand that off to the city council to make sure that we're working along the lines that we're working along the lines of what you think we should be doing. Does that seem reasonable, Carl?
Yeah, and I was just thinking as you were talking, Becky, if there is, I'm just thinking maybe it would be worth having a brainstorming or thoughtful discussion in council about what formally the city council would like to see give direction to the master plan. I'm thinking that would be well worth attending, both from your side of the Art Commission, as well as maybe making sure that the counselors are thinking of the right kinds of things, so we don't go off on a deep end or suggest something that's be uncomfortable. So I'm wondering if we could find a way, and maybe in a workshop format, a conversation that would be recorded, written out, maybe a memo to the Art Commission, just kind of with the general principles of what the council are thinking.
So that the two groups can get together on that. Linda?
I'm a little uncomfortable with the fact that we're going to have an outline, give it to the council, and they're going to say, run with it. And there is not the expertise on this. You know, we can read what other plans other cities have and put it together. There's not the expertise on this Sandy Action or Sandy Arts Commission, nor is there on any other, there's always been someone familiar with code, familiar with the language of ordinances to help craft that. If we craft it and then turn it to you, even if it addresses the things you say, it's going to have to be redone by the city, or at least brought up to the language of code, because we don't have that expertise on the Arts Commission. And it seems like I don't want to be spinning our wheels and doing something even after the council. It seems a lot to expect from the council, to expect the Sandy Arts Commission to be the ones to craft a master plan. Right now they're working on the Parks Master Plan. They have expertise working on the Parks Master Plan because it's a priority of the city council. they have paid staff and unpaid but experienced people in the form of Nancy and Nabdit or whatever working on that. Whereas, you know, we have basically novices, 3 novices, and Gail with some experience in her past life, but working on something that we're then going to present to the city council. I mean, that's part of the reason why I suggested that we go back to just, we originally were going to do like an in-depth thing on every little aspect of it, and we went back to just doing an outline with bullet points for the city council to address. But even when we get that and you give us marching orders to go ahead, craft the master plan, that seems counterproductive to actually getting a master plan adopted.
Well, that's a good point. And so I have sent an email to the city manager regarding that point, that this commission is not attached to staff. Sorry, Tyler. I don't mean not.
Got a lot of other stuff on his plate.
So the planning commission has the planning department staff as a support system. The Parks Board has the Parks and Rec Department. They're on board with what gets done in the advisory council. So we don't have a staff to write the code or to do some of the other things that the other departments do. But that's something that once we know what the direction is that they want us to go, we would know what we needed. And we can ask for more financial support if it's a project that the city council wants done.
So if I can,
Uh-huh.
first off, you do have a staff assigned to the Art Commission. That's Tyler. And actually he's in charge of the finances, which might be an advantage to you because he might know where to get some of these dollars and where they might be that will help us push forward a project like the master plan. Secondly, Linda's example of the Parks Department, a Parks Master Plan, I mean, being sponsored by the Parks Department, in that they have actually a paid consultant to do the work in Nancy Annabeth, who is working to put that together, has the background and as a contractor. And I think we could do something similar to that, and we should probably go after the city council with the same sort of proposal. But in the Parks Department, the master plan, they put together a proposal with descriptive terms about what they would like to do, what was the scope, the sideboards, the time frame, and the kind of help they were going to need to make the master plan happen. And I guess that would be something that, as part of this conversation between the city council and the Arts Commission, that would be something that we probably want to try to format and put together. And once you get the city council on board, allowing us to, spend whatever thousands of dollars we're going to need to have some sort of a contractor pull that together to give us those knowledge and abilities and structure to be able to make the master plan happen. I think that would be something we'd want to make sure that we get the council to go forward on. Now that we've gotten the approval from the council to work on these projects, and it's something that's important for the council, and I think it's really, from our standpoint, we have the need to be able to make sure that it gets followed through on a professional product, something we could be proud of. And then finally, for me, we don't have anything at all right now, really. We're coming from a place of this commission has only been in place now for a couple of years, and really have never had anything solid with an art plan. And in fact, Becky, you've been aware of the fact it's been tough to even open up some of these committees, like the Pleasant Street Committee, the Parks Master Plan, the Downtown Walkability Plan. All those have been worked forward without any input from the Art Commission. And I think just getting those kind of things established has been one of those struggles, and I'm hoping that that's become aware now that people want to get that put together. And then finally, code and getting that put together, that's going to have to be part of staff's job. They're going to have to find a way to incorporate code once we get this master plan put together. And I guess that's a step down the road, but certainly we'll have to get priority from council and from staff to be able to make that happen too. So I think it
Carl,
really would be working well to get a meeting of the minds about what this master plan is going to entail and how we can find ways to finance some of the things we don't have skills for.
Carl, one of the concerns I had from my past experience is that right now we're sitting at a point in the city with this COVID stuff. Like if we didn't have the COVID, I would be making contact with the League of Oregon Cities and with the people there who are familiar with other people's master plans and art, but they're not available because they're not working in the office. And also from a financial standpoint for the city, we probably won't know until November what the actual financial impacts of this whole thing have done to the city's budget. So trying to plan on something that's going to obligate more money from the city budget right now seems a little preemptive until we know exactly where the dollars in the city are going to be in 2 or 3 months when we start looking at the lack of income from gas tax, business tax. I mean, there's going to be some pitfalls and shortcomings in our finances, and Tyler's fully aware of that because he's got, you know, yeah, he is a staff member that's helping us, but he's got a lot on his plate, and he's going to have even more on his plate trying to figure out where to make up those shortfalls in the budget that are going to arrive because of this, because this isn't over yet. I mean, the governor put a halt on things, so nothing's going to expand again from now. And anything that's going to, I think the council, in my opinion, wouldn't have the enthusiasm to add any other burdens to the business community in the way of either extra funding or extra fees to cover any costs for this particular subject right now. I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't in the future, but right now, until we know where we stand, it seems a little bit presumptive on our part to think that the money would be easily found to make all this happen.
In that response, you never know what will come unless you have, in terms of a proposal, until you know what it's going to cost you. And so without even having some sort of understanding what the bare necessities would be, we really wouldn't be able to even begin to have a conversation with the council or what budgets we might be needing. And so to some respect, Linda, I think that it's important to have at least a skeleton framework about what we think we're going to need to make this master plan happen. And as we find out what those budgets are going to be with the coronavirus, with the downturn in property taxes and all the rest of things, income taxes, we would at least be ready to sit there on the sideboards and say, here's what we think we need. And then if there is some money available, we would be able to step forward and say, okay, how about us? So there's that. The other thing is I don't know if I want to put all this on the back of Dan Bosserman, but Dan is had been a lot of experience in asking for grants and fairly successful. It might be something that we could use and lean on him a little bit in terms of looking for resources outside the city to be able to make that happen. So push him a little bit. He's an old good buddy of mine too. And hopefully I'm not making him feel too uncomfortable, but that might be another option for looking for things to come up with. And I know, for example, in the master plan, Nancy Enabet is volunteering quite a bit of her time in part of this extra to be able to make sure the master plan contract moves forward, because there isn't a lot of money in that to be able to pay her for everything. So she's giving some and donating some as well as being paid. So I guess I would encourage, and I'm not part of the vote at this point, I'm just here as a liaison, but for me, if you were to at least have some sort of skeletal format about what you're thinking you're going to need, so that when those things do come up, we don't have to say, oh, hang on a minute, we're going to need another couple of months or weeks or whatever to be able to put together something that describes what we think we're going to need. At least then you're ready to say, here's so many dollars, here's so many people.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Carl. We don't know. what we are going to come up with, and Marcia and Becky and I, along with Gail, came up with a, we're going to come up with a framework of what the master plan will look like. But we really have no clue what kind of staff help we would need to put that in ordinance language, what kind of requests we would need, or requests for proposals we need from people that would be the equivalent of Nancy, but for arts.
Can I just get in here?
Yeah,
I had internet problems earlier, and I've turned my video off because I hope that I get more bandwidth up here in the sticks. So
You can move in the city.
But I'm
in the city.
no way. Sorry, Jose. I kind of like it out here in the sticks. But that I was saying that I had sent in the very point that we if we work on anything that requires a lot of staff input, then we would need more money to cover their time, because we already are putting demands on them. So that those details need to be worked out within the city so that projects go forward as the city council chooses to do them. So we're going to move.
One last point, if I can, let me squeeze in a little bit and then I'll be quiet again. Is that I was talking actually specifically with Kelly O'Neill, who is going to be probably pretty involved in any kind of code changes. They have reorganized what they are working on because of the coronavirus away from projects and things that they're doing that require face-to-face. And so they're shifting their priorities over to other projects that don't require face-to-face things to do. And some of them are not on the council's highest priority, but because of the physical restrictions by the governor, they're on a different format. And it might be that we might get some staff available in that way, because they are looking for non-interactive, non-face-to-face kind of projects. And this might very well be one of those they could assign a planner on. But again, it's going to have to be something to go to the director and ask them and get authority and stuff. But I still would advocate find a way to get at least a proposal, even a proposal to do the proposal might be worth putting together.
Thank you, Carl.
Can jump in here quickly. I do think that something that would be helpful in lieu of, dedicating a full hour workshop at a council meeting is maybe Councilor Exner, you during a council report, test the temperature from the other councilors on what they would like to see, and is this even a priority for the council as a whole, to schedule a workshop at this point in time, or do we want to wait a little bit longer and see where things are at? Because, I do recognize Linda's concern with spending a lot of time on a project that won't move forward. And I also recognize, your position that you don't know if it's going to move forward until you have some of the seeds planted to get the buy-in to move forward. So maybe just a temperature check from the council if they're interested in moving forward with some of these items in the near future, so that we can get back to the commission and let them know, yes, this is a priority. Let's continue to work on it.
I'll make a point.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks.
Let's move
Hello.
on.
Hi, we have Sandy.
Oh, geez, Louise. Well, I'm here anyway.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. We're going to move now to another item that we're working on in conjunction with Kelly O'Neill, which is breaking the murals out of the sign code for Sandy and having a mural policy that would fall under the Sandy Arts Commission. So Pam has worked on doing an overview, well, just as an overview, she's worked on combining facets of many, many different mural policies from different cities, and really worked hard on creating something that fits for Sandy. So where are you on that, Pam?
I think we're just about completed. Just dotting some P's and Q's. Do you dot P's and Q's? Anyway,
No,
getting our P's and Q's right and dotting our whatever we've got.
Dot our I's, cross our T's.
Yeah, there we go. Well, anyway, the policy is essentially written, just a few tweaks here and there.
Okay, and so the mural policy has questions involved in it that different municipalities treat murals differently. And so there's some questions that we need to ask some of the department people, and also we may get to the point where we'll need to find out which direction the city council wants to go on certain issues, some of which have already been discussed with Carl as the council person. And so next month we'll have an update on that.
Yeah, there's about 10 interesting questions that I think we need some input on from various staff and council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the donations to the art fund and fundraising topic. As of a little bit ago, we had a solid $3,500 that has been generated for monetary donations. We already have about $8,000 of in-kind donations, and we are really just now opening up our fundraising to the local businesses to see what we can partner with them on as far as the fundraising. So we have Pam as the representative for the Arts Commission, and I as the artist and the project planner will be going before the Urban Renewal Board on July 6th. And at that point, we will be seeking funds based on the support that we already have and the project. And so if anyone is interested in donating to the art fund, that is open for everyone right now. And the if anyone is interested in, has contacts that they're interested in contacting to see if they would be willing to support something, if you could contact Sandra, Marcia, or myself, and we can get as much information to you as you need for that. Does anybody have anything else? Anyone else have anything on
My
that
only
subject?
thing would be to Carl. In the downtown, in the urban renewal district, if a business wants to do a facade improvement or do something that's in the Sandy style with what currently isn't Sandy style, what's the percentage that they have to supply to get that project? If it's approved, whatever their design is, what is the buy-in? Is it, I know in the past, way long ago, it was like 10% on the toll glass building at the beginning of town here. He had to put 10%, like spread the bark dust and supply some plants. I was told that it may have gone up to like 50%, but what is the buy-in for a business who wants to avail themselves of urban renewal dollars?
Well, there's no legal law that says that. Our policy has been, to begin with, we were trying to encourage folks, so that's where that 90-10% being the owner's contribution and 90 the urban renewal.
Because I know that
now it is down around 50%.
It's 50%
that's pretty
now?
much where we're looking at. So for example, the city hall is being put together. We're talking about the new facade. It's about 50% general fund and 50% urban growth.
So what I'm saying is, couldn't the new mural on Brad Picking's property fall under the same scenario, if the Arts Commission and the city is able to raise 50% of the total cost through either in-kind donations or actual monetary donations, wouldn't then do you think the Urban Renewal Board would fund the other 50%?
Absolutely. In fact, when we proposed that here 2 councils back, we were ready to put that money out on the table there. But one of the things that was brought up, and I think it was Councilor Smallwood, who said that because we had just gone through something with the library in a similar format where they came to us and said we'd like to go out and get donations, and they were concerned about being able to make enough for their new computers, I think, and some books and stuff. Turned out that there was overwhelming support from the community. They didn't need any money. They got it all. And so
Difference being that would be that would be a library expenditure, not anything to do with urban renewal.
But the city has contributed money to the library and continues to do today to make sure that we fill in some of the gaps that are there. But there's just an example of how they went from that to the Grow With Us Mural, in that they asked us to go out, find what kind of donations we get, and at a logical point when the time is ready, come back to us and say, don't need any money because we have all these great contributions. We need 5,000, 10,000. I think it was up, I think they were talking somewhere in the order of 15 grand possibility of coming out of the urban growth or urban renewal fund. And I think that's what we're after. We're looking for whatever would be come in for the donations. And then if there is some needs, then the city council was very positive about saying, we'll make up the difference. Yeah. But first go out, get the donations, see what that nets you, and then come back when you're at a place where you're ready to come back and ask for money, or just say we've got more than enough donations.
And that surprises me. I think that the appeal by the library would be to the general fund and not to urban renewal dollars. That doesn't seem like I don't know what the law is for urban renewal dollars, but interior things in the library doesn't seem like a viable option.
It wasn't in relation to the urban renewal fund. It was, they were looking for general fund.
Yeah,
numbers.
okay. Yeah, I'm just,
so it was just the concept is they came to us, said we need to have a bunch of donations. Would you be supportable in that? And we said, sure, but come back. And turned out that the library committee got more than enough donations to cover everything. And I think we, as a council, would have supported them if we had to, but certainly that's the example they used was, let's see what you get when you go out there and ask. And that's what.
Okay. So our plan is actually to raise funds to show the community support for the project. And what we had done originally was to ask for a not to exceed fee, not to an exceed amount for funding. And I believe that we will be changing our strategy to a dollar figure instead for June 6th, because by then we will have a lot of our fundraising done, and we have a limited amount of time in the summer to get this done. So if we can get a positive number by July 6th, we can certainly move ahead without any trouble. So anybody else have anything to say on any of the subjects that we've covered here so far?
No,
okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
Becky?
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me? This is Sandy.
Yes, Sandy.
I want to mark on my sheet what's gone. The library, the tree with the plaque, positively.
The tree, what she's talking about is in the mural design, there are a number of items that could be sponsored, and we have sponsors for the tree, which will have a plaque at the base of it, talking about the symbolism of a tree and the fact that Sandy is a tree USA city. Also gone from the that's being sponsored is the child reading in the wheelchair above the library section. And the librarians are going to supply a pool of titles and authors to be painted on the electric panels below. So those things have support.
Okay. Yeah, I asked because the wheelchair wasn't on the list.
It
So-
says child reading. I didn't put child in a wheelchair reading. I just wrote child reading.
Child reading, children with balloons. Okay, it's all together. That's why. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Sure. Thanks.
So at this point, we're ready to start thinking about moving on to our regular meeting. And I don't have the agenda in front of me. Did it say 1:45?
Is 1:30.
At 1:30, I was
Okay, so we
expecting some of
can-
those items to go quickly as they did.
Okay, so I am going to turn the main meeting over to the chair, Vice Chair Marcia Morrow, to take care of the whole rest of the meeting. Go ahead, Marcia.
You have to unmute, Marcia.
Unmute, Marcia. There
Am I
you
in
go.
mute? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are y'all ready? Here we go. Roll call. Lou,
Yep, here.
Sandy,
Yes.
Becky,
Here.
Marcia, here. Pam,
Pam, unmute.
Here.
Pam. And Linda.
Here.
Okay, and Jeff and Tyler. Any changes to the agenda? No, that's a no. No public comment. Anybody come on that I don't know? I don't think so.
Marcia,
So
there
Dan-
may, I don't know if, so Dan called me before the meeting, and
Yes.
I did mention to him that he might like to speak during the public comment portion.
Okay. Is he on?
Would you like me to unmute him?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Dan, if you can hear us, there should be a button asking you to unmute your microphone now. And if you can just click that button.
Yeah, we did.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Dan. We're to the public comment portion of our agenda. Did you have any comments?
Hi, you're doing fine. I'm proud to be among you.
Well, we're happy to have you. And my husband, Steve Morrow, thinks very highly of you. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that Morrow.
that Morrow.
Well,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah. Okay. So no other comments, I take it?
Dan, Tom says hi.
Oh, I turned off his microphone, sorry.
Okay.
So we're to old business. One of the things we have on the agenda is Growing Together Silhouette Mural. And we wanted to discuss if the Art Commission could designate some funds out of our budget. We currently have $606,776 to spend for the next year. And last year we only spent $1,300. So we are wondering as a commission if we could support the silhouette mural. Does anybody have any thoughts, ideas, how much you would like to, or if you do not want to?
How much further is that money available? Is it this calendar year?
Yes. It's,
Okay. I was
That's
Oh, not
through
this-
the,
well, I mean, through what is it?
it's through June 30th, 2021. So you have,
Okay.
So we've
a
got
year and 2
another
weeks.
year.
All right. I always get confused with biennials and annuals and
I know, they're all different too, so,
yeah. So that's what I was wondering about. Okay.
yeah. Okay, so we've got a whole year to go, and we've got over $6,000.
I
Anybody
think it
want
would
to?
be appropriate that we support the mural. Especially this year with COVID, we're going to be limited in other artistic things that we can do.
What was the total cost estimate for the mural?
20,000,
20,000 total?
correct.
So with the 7,000 in-kind donations and the 3,500 current cash donations, we've met the 50% already.
That's correct.
And so if we wanted to bump that up by 1,000 from our current budget, that would put us over the 50%. And then I'm assuming we're still going to get additional donations to where we could end up being even higher than that, and make it even more likely that on July 6th, the Urban Renewal Board would approve any remaining balance needed to finish the mural, right?
Correct, correct. Any
So,
other comments?
Linda, are you
No, I
proposing $1,000 out of our budget?
You know, I would be willing to go higher than that, but I would say $1,000. That's 20% or so of what we have left in our budget.
Yes.
Can we do a proposal that says we will contribute at least $1,000 and limit it to that for now until we see what other funds come in? Or what Urban Renewal is willing to do?
That's what I would propose doing, because if we, I think we need to reserve some if we want to do, who knows what's going to end up happening, but you still have plans of maybe wanting to do the chalk art thing or encourage some other areas. We don't want to spend all of our remaining budget, since it's the budget we have through 2021. We don't want to spend all of it on this, but we do want to show support.
Right, right. So I need someone to make a motion.
I would move that we expend $1,000 from our current budget towards the completion of the already approved mural.
I second that.
Pam seconds it. All in favor? Everybody raise your hand.
And Marcia, I apologize. On the Zoom meetings, it is just better for archiving purposes to do a roll call vote.
Okay. Marcia says yes. Lou?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Becky,
Sandra?
can you vote?
Sandra can vote.
No.
Sandra?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it's unanimous. It's passed.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so we're to commissioners' reports. Who's doing that part?
There are none.
That would just be for anyone that would like to report on anything that hasn't been discussed yet.
Anything? I think we've discussed it all.
Yeah.
Council liaison report, Carl?
At this point, I have nothing more to report on.
Okay, thank you. Staff liaison report, that would be a budget update.
Yeah, so you've already touched on that, Marcia, in your last discussion regarding the mural, but currently there's, well, I guess now $5,776.39 remaining
Right.
in the Arts Commission budget. So that's all I have.
I had one thing I wanted to talk to Tyler about. In the past, when I was volunteering at Providence, we needed a donation from Craft Warehouse to I was working in the NICU, and we were making like name signs for the babies who were long-term in the NICU. And I needed some art supplies to be able to make those signs. And Providence wrote a letter with their letterhead. And I took that to Craft Warehouse, and they made some donations of scrapbook pages and that kind of thing to be able to complete those. I know that Craft Warehouse requires a request for the donation on a letterhead of the organization the donation is being made to. Would it be possible to get a letter from the city on letterhead requesting the donation of sidewalk art materials or chalk art materials for sidewalks from Craft Warehouse, so that I could approach them and see what they'd be willing to donate if we indeed find the time or the place or whatever to do that this summer? I would need that before I go to Craft Warehouse for that donation.
Yeah, it's not something I've done in the past, but I don't think there's any issue with, drafting a letter on letterhead and requesting some
Yeah,
some
and
donations.
Dan,
So
Dan can sign it, you know, if it
Yeah.
comes from the mayor, it may carry more weight. But just, you know, I think maybe they would be interested in doing that at the craft warehouse. I think we could get some donation of materials from them.
sure. Is that something you want me to work on now, or do you want to wait until you have a better idea of what summer
I
looks
think
like?
I think maybe Becky would have a better idea, but maybe we should wait until we have an actual event planned. But
Right.
once we do, if we, you know, if we can craft up that letter to be ready to be printed so that I could take it to them, that'd be great.
Yeah, not a problem.
Any other comments? Did
I think
everybody
that-
get it?
I-
Go ahead.
I would comment that I think that that's a good idea. If and when we move forward with the chalk art, that
Yep.
that would be a good way of helping us fund it.
Mhm.
And we have, a lot of times they require like a matching fund thing, and with 5,700 in our account, we could probably do, you know, the matching fund with them. And then see whether or not that works out to being cheaper than just how you did it before through the company, or, you know, we're not gonna get a donation that ends up costing us more than just buying it direct, but
Yep. Thank you so much for the.
okay.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, how much did we spend last year on the chalk art? I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a couple $100, I think.
I think so.
Yeah,
Right, Beth?
it wasn't much.
It's for some reason in my mind I have like $300.
Well,
don't
it was,
remember
I
either.
think it was, excuse me, let me butt in a second. I think it was a little bit more because we did pay out prizes for the contest winners, but as far as supplies, I think that it didn't amount to a lot of money.
Okay. Any other comments? Everybody good?
Nope.
Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes so we can consent the agenda?
Yes.
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 Blue?
Yes.
Okay.
I would
Everything
move to
okay?
approve the
So we can,
consent agenda. I would
Second?
move to approve the consent agenda.
is there a second?
I'll
I
second.
second.
Okay.
Okay. And do I do a roll call on this too?
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes, please.
So in order to consent the agenda, please let me know by a yes. Lou?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Marcia? Yes. Pam?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not hear who seconded that motion. Could someone
Lou.
inform?
Lou did.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so the agenda is consented unanimously. And that brings us to the end of our meeting.
Great.
Is Tyler still there?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, Tyler, I'm still trying to get my, bill for the,